Hey everybody, it's Lavender Town, and as you may have already noticed, my hair has been repinked, and I'm in a completely different room today. This is actually my new room and studio, so I'm going to be doing a studio tour very soon to show you guys all of what's up with this new space. But for today, I just wanted to redraw one of the oldest, most embarrassing pieces of art I ever could find on the internet. Basically, I think I put it up in 2009, so that's quite a while ago. I was pretty young, and it's very cliche, and I really don't like it anymore. So I'm hoping I can do a better job today, and I'll just talk a little bit about what I don't like about this one, and yeah, try to improve upon it. So let's get started. In order to find one of the most embarrassing pieces of art I've ever posted online, I had to go into the scraps of my old DeviantArt account. There were a lot of real winners in there, but I chose this one. It's titled Fairly Good versus Rather Evil. I misspelled versus, and the first thing I say in the description is, now it's right side up, yay! The first things that are standing out to me that I wish I had done differently are how stiff and unemotional the characters are, both in their pose and in their face. I also am not a huge fan of the colors. They really clash and not in an intentional looking way. I was also using some very basic brushes that don't look terribly good, and you can see lots of little white specks where I filled in with the paint bucket tool and I didn't go back in to make sure that all of those little white artifacts were taken care of, which really bugs me. So the first thing I'm thinking about is trying to put some more energy and emotion into their poses. I want to tell more of a story and show more of what their relationship is, because they're just so blank and emotionless in the original. I am already embellishing a little bit on some of the designs as well, because I really don't like them. So I'm giving the angel a little heart eye patch, and I'm also creating a greater height difference between them so that they're more distinct. I'm also going to make the devil boy cling a little bit more to the angel, and the angel to look a little bit more shocked, so that we see this dynamic of sort of a strained relationship perhaps, or a one-sided love perhaps. I can't really remember what the original story for these two was, but I'm sure it was something like that. I was a sucker for unrequited love and that kind of thing, so this would be right in line with my taste back then. I'm also going to give the demon boy heels. I just think that's really cool. I barely ever draw boys, so oftentimes when I'm drawing two of them together, I give one of them more masculine and one of them more feminine traits, just so that they look a little different, because I don't actually know that much about men's fashion and stuff, so I usually try to put little embellishments of even like women's fashion, I guess. I don't really know like why there needs to be a huge difference. I think that heels can look really great on a guy, especially if they're like a punk sort of look, like why not? I'm also changing up the way that I'm doing the hair. Both of them have the same texture of hair in the original drawing, and in this one I wanted to give the demon boy a bit more curly hair. I'm also going to give him more of a facial expression like I was talking about. I want him to look sort of cheerful and devious. I'm trying to focus also on having nice, dark, and smooth-looking line art. I know a lot of you say that my line art isn't very smooth, but compared to what I was working with back then, this is definitely pretty smooth. I'm trying to add more texture in the hair, even more than I usually do, just to show growth from the super flat and uninteresting-looking hair that I did back in the day. For his little weird, like, leather tank top thing, I'm trying to add some embellishment to lean more into the little demon thing. So he has little bat wings on his collar, and I'm also going to sort of carry that along the rest of his design. I'm going to give him different sleeves because I think the mesh sleeves, first of all, look really uncomfortable, and also I just don't really like them very much. And like I said, he's clinging more this time to the arm of the taller angel boy. I feel like I should give them names. I don't think they had names, because if they had, I probably would have mentioned it in the DeviantArt description. Okay, so officially, the angel is going to be called Grayson, and the demon is going to be called Luca. And there's no special significance, I just want to call them something other than the angel boy and the demon boy. So I'm working on Grayson's hair now, and I'm giving him sort of a do you call it an undercut when it's for a boy hairstyle? I'm not sure. It's just shaved up to this midpoint of his head, and then the rest is sort of a fluffy straight across bowl cut, I guess. I think it looks a little bit more rule abiding. I'm not really sure how to explain it. Basically, I think it looks a little bit neater than the crazy wild hair of Luca. So I'm also giving the angel piercings because I used to give everyone piercings back then, and I just feel like in order to honor my 13-year-old self, I should do that. And yeah, I also pulled their wings up really high so that they could give this nice interesting shape, and also the light color could sort of help pop out his head, if that makes sense. If you put a strong shape behind a character's head, it really helps their face sort of pop when it comes to the illustration. So that's sort of what I was trying to do. I'm making the mesh shirt sort of carry down throughout his other layers, Luca's that is, and it's also forming a bat wing because I'm just committing to it. And then I gave him super tight jeans with little bones on the legs to look sort of like a skeleton pants kind of thing. Whereas Grayson has a regular pair of jeans, and I kept his little sweatshirt ties on his top. And, oh, I need a pop filter. And yeah, basically I'm just trying to differentiate the two while still making them look good together. So again, I'm doing these crazy punk heels for Luca, and I'm doing the little bone on the heel and everything to match with the pants. And Grayson is getting a thicker, more contemporary looking pair of sneakers, just because I thought that would look cute in comparison to the formal shoes of Luca. And now the inking is complete. So at this point I'm putting a gray on top of everything to make sure that this time I do the colors properly. So everything is getting colored in. I'm not leaving anything just white as a background. And when I'm choosing the colors, I'm trying to make sure that every time I put a color on one of the characters that I try to carry it over to the other character a little bit, especially with big important colors. I'm changing Luca's hair color to pink because I thought that would be cuter, and I thought it would sort of give an homage to the overwhelming red colors of the original without clashing too much with Grayson's blue hair. I really like the look of blue and pink together. I, in the end, also end up doing a black hair, red eyes look for Luca just to more directly compare with the original, but I still think I prefer the pink hair better. And as I'm coloring in their clothes, I'm also just trying to make sure that they don't have any colors that are too similar touching each other. So that's actually why I leaned off of having black sleeves for Luca, because it was too close to that warm gray on Grayson's sweater. And the other thing I was trying to do was doing warm colors on Grayson's clothes mostly, and then some cooler colors on Luca. So like his wings are a cool dark gray, whereas the dark gray on Grayson's sweater is more of a warm one. And again, that's just to tie the characters together a little bit better, so that not just one has cool colors and one has warm colors like in the original, but they kind of look better together. For the shading, I'm going to challenge myself to do a bit of a softer shade. I usually do really harsh cell shading. Wow, that's hard to say. But this time I wanted to show more growth again by doing a bit of a mixed shading, something that looks a little bit more 3D and complicated. So I'm taking a nice fake watercolor from my Kyle T. Webster brush pack, and I'm just using that to sort of burnish different areas that I want to be dark, and then I'm going to go back in with my traditional cell shading, and it'll soften the whole thing up so that the cell shading is not so intense. You can see that as I do his hair, it's really not as sharp looking because I have these nice gradients already built in. And I'm just using a warm throughout for the shading. I was going to do different shading colors, but I really do prefer to use just one shade for the whole thing. I just think it looks more unified and it's a lot easier. I also gave kind of a sickly blue color for Luca's skin. I just sort of did that as a style choice. I just wanted to try it out, and I thought it made him look more supernatural. It also helped tie him in color-wise with Grayson's hair again. So yeah, once they're looking a bit more 3D, that's always good, especially because despite all the shading I was doing in the original, they still looked extremely flat. So I really wanted to make sure that these two looked pretty 3D. And then after that, I'm just going to do a bit of highlighting, just where it counts, like in the eyes and on the hair, just to give them, again, a bit of more of a lifelike look, even though it is just a cartoon. And I'm leaning off the full white opacity this time, just to, again, sort of match with the softer shading. And with that, we're done with the main portion of this redraw. Now I'm just going to work on the background a little, because the background I did in the original is pretty hideous, I think. So I'm giving them a nice white border just so that they really pop out from whatever I end up doing in the background. I decided to do a heart because, like I said, I'm pretty sure that there was some sort of romantic story between these two when I originally drew them. So that's what I'm trying to do, and basically I'm going to do a blue and pink heart, just again to match their little signature colors, and then I am going to find a texture and put it on top so that it looks a little bit more interesting. Gives us something other than flat color to look at, basically. And then lastly, I'm going to put my name on it. This is a really bad habit of mine, I often forget to do this, but it's really good to put your name on your art just in case it ends up somewhere and people don't know how to find you. And with that, it's done. Here's the alternate color scheme that's a little bit closer to the original, and here's a direct comparison of the two. To close this video, I just want to remind you all that we all were beginners at one point, and even if you're embarrassed by your old art, you should never throw it away because it's always fun to look back on and see how much progress you've made. I have a ton of videos scheduled for this week, so stay tuned and I'll see you very soon. Big thank you to my patrons, including Muffins McGee, Paynamel, Adrian Delport, Chartype, Den, Brock, Juan Alvarez, Adrian Morales, @Live Likes to Draw, and Kate Meekins. Thank you so much for your support.